Welcome back. Today is a special day. We are starting what I'm calling the business checkup. And what the business checkup is, we're going to have a business owner on, and they are going to talk to us about what their business is. And then I'll ask a bunch of questions, and I'll see if I can help them to improve on what they've already got going. So today we have Paul Pape from Omaha, Nebraska. He makes things with his hands, lots of custom doodads and things. I had an idea that maybe he can maybe make me my own class of Star Trek ship. That would be awesome, right? The Simone class. um, with nacelles that kind of go up like this, just like Voyager did. I know y'all start you if you want a Star Trek fan, you have no clue what I'm talking about right now. Anyhow, so let's jump in. Paul, say hi.
Hello, and thank you for having me. This is going to be exciting. As an artist, as a professional artist, what you do is so foreign to me. So I'm really excited to kind of dive in and learn some really good tips and tricks and learn the best practices for marketing.
Absolutely. Great. So before we jump into that, tell me about your business and about your goals for your business. What do you want it to do?
All right. Well, as you mentioned, I am an artist. I call myself Santa Claus for nerds. I own a business called Paul Pape Designs, and I design and fabricate custom collectibles. Basically, I make the things that people want that they can't get anywhere else. My wife likes to say I make memories tangible. And so I've been doing that for about 20 years, a little bit over 20 years now. I've worked for thousands of people all over the world. I've worked for big companies like Disney, Universal, Nickelodeon, The Tonight Show, all of these places. And basically what they do is they come to me when they have a problem that they don't know how to solve creatively. And so I help them out with that. And then recently, so that's my main business. And then recently I've made a pivot where I've actually added another aspect of business, which is a speaking career where I go and I teach people how to do the things I do, how to unlock all of their creativity so that they can thrive and innovate. And so what are my goals? My my goals is to keep the businesses thriving. I mean, the Paul Pape Designs is basically a business of um, word of mouth. It is completely word of mouth driven. I joined the internet before the internet was really a thing. And I've been fortunate enough that the things that I create are visual. And so people will share that over and over again. And so I've had a really uh, I've been blessed with the amount of success that I've had with that just through word of mouth. It's not been a lot of active advertising, but switching over into the speaking career, that is all about marketing and advertising and getting the word out. And I'll be honest with you, and I don't usually admit this, I don't know what I'm doing. So I think that's an important thing to put out into the ether because I feel that a lot of people don't know what they're doing, but they're too afraid to admit it because we don't want to ever show weakness and we don't want to fail. And I'm all about both of those things because that's how you learn. I mean, I'm all about learning and I want to learn more about this. And so I feel the only way that I can really truly be successful is to admit some weaknesses and then search out people like you who know what they're doing. You may not be able to design a Simone class ship. I can, but you can definitely show me how to market my business better so that I can have more clients for both the art world and stages to speak on.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And just know that you are not alone. This is something, just not knowing how to market and market ourselves well is a common problem. A lot of people have this problem. I used to work with artists and I would watch them introduce other people and talk about other people in these wonderful ways and help other artists out. But when it came to marketing themselves, they had such a hard time. So sometimes it's hard to just use our superpowers on ourselves, you know. So let's dive in. So we want to keep the business going. And right now, you said, you're great on the creative side, but the marketing side, not as well versed. What would you say is your biggest question about how to market your business?
With the artistic business, I think the biggest question is, how do you advertise that you can make anything, but pique enough interest in someone that they're willing to ask for the thing because that they don't know that they want. I used to do a lot of trade shows, and I would have a table like you do in trade shows, Comic Cons and stuff, and it would show various things that I've made in the past, and people would pass by and they go, I don't want any of that, and walk on. But I had a banner behind me that says, I can literally make you anything. But it's just so open-ended that unless they have an idea in mind or they truly believe, that's why I call myself Santa Claus, that they truly believe that something magical can happen, they don't buy into it. And so for the art part, how would you advertise that?
What came to mind for me is niching. When you are focused on a particular person and a particular problem, it's easier to talk about what it is you do. And it's easier to pique their interest and get them to get them interested in what it is you do. So if you are, say you were we're attracting people like me, Star Trek nerds, and and you say, I can build you your own class of ship. I can create for you your own bridge, or anything like that. And then you take that, once you know who your niche is, who that target market is, then you go to where they are. And now you have people who are interested. There's going to be, lots of people there. Not everybody is going to be particularly interested in that thing at that moment, just because, moments go by. But if you were to set up that same table at a Star Trek convention, and you've got the ships and you've got the uniforms and you've got, the hand phasers and different things like that, well, now you have a ton of people interested because you're targeting them. They know the language that you speak, right? Same thing as if you were to go to Comic-Con or something for a Marvel convention, and and you had the Thor armor and and all of that. You had the whole Iron Man suit and like customized it, stuff like that. Then those people who want that thing, they know this is for me. You're talking to me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. So here's a question that
Okay.
relates to that. Everything that I make is one of a kind,
Mm-hmm.
and it is for a particular person because they hire me to create the one of a kind. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't have anything that I've made. So how do you bring that to a show? Unless I'm making a bunch of duplicates of things or stuff that I've had in the past. I have a nerd wall behind me that's got a lot of prototypes and like versions of stuff on it, but I don't actually have like finished product because that all goes out to the clients. I have in the past asked for some of the stuff back just so I can use it for a show or for a trade show or whatnot. And that's been successful. But a lot of people, once you give them that thing that is so precious to them, they're not one to really kind of even give it back to the guy who created it, even just for other people to see. So it just adds so much more work. But I mean, is that just an excuse or is it,
No, it's not an excuse. It is a limitation,
Yeah.
is what I would say.
Yeah.
Because you have this custom design business, but then you could also develop a productized service where, I've got a limited run of Thor costumes, a limited run of Iron Man costumes, a limited run of, Discovery ships. So you could do it like that. And you end up with your customized business, which would be a high ticket offer because it's all customized, special. There's one of a kind. They see it once, they never see it again. But then you may also have a set of products that, several people can get, even if you don't want to do hundreds of thousands of them, but you do something special and you have a limited run of those things.
Mm.
And now you have a whole other product category.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
You know?
Honestly, I hadn't even thought about. I'm so used to doing one of a kinds and one-offs that limited runs aren't something that's even like come into my, I know about it and I'll do it
Mhm.
for companies. I hadn't really thought about doing it for myself. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Good notes. So then moving on to the speaking, I assume that niching is probably the way to go on that one as well. I speak a lot about creativity and unlocking your potential in that. And so it would be okay, so I'm going to do that. So it's finding people who are interested in learning that.
Yes.
The stumbling block that I've encountered recently is that I come from an entertainment field. Obviously we're talking about television and film and theater. Entertainment is pretty much where all of my connections lie. And so if I'm reaching out to them, I say, hey, I'd love to speak to you and your company, your people about embracing creativity. And every single one of them has been like, this is what we do for a living. Why would we hire you? We already know this. And
Mm.
so I'm like, oh, you're not wrong, because that's obviously where I come from. Now I may have a new spin on it, new take, some helpful hints, but when you're engrossed in a situation in that lifestyle, it's really hard, one, to get outside opinions, but two, to be like, yeah, we all do need help in this. And so I would need to reach out into different areas, but I lack any kind of connection into other like corporate or education or like boys and girls clubs or the scouts and that kind of stuff. So how do you recommend marketing to them, to groups that you have like I mean, besides just cold calling, which I know is just a numbers game, it's tens of thousands of emails hoping for any kind of feedback. Do you have a way of marketing so that it doesn't feel like you're wasting so much effort on hopes and dreams?
Yes. First of all, you start with market research.
Okay.
So you may think that a particular industry, a particular niche, a particular group of people might want what you have to offer, but you don't really know for sure unless they're willing to pay you for it. But you can get answers from them just on, like you said, like you don't want to have waste time with all the cold calling and the cold emailing and all that stuff, especially since you don't know what they need or what to say first.
Right.
So so I would maybe come up with a list of people that you think would be interested in what you had to say, who maybe have the problem that you're trying to solve. Who are these people who need to understand better about creativity, who maybe have some mindset issues around it or some limitations around using their creativity. Um, and then find out where they're hanging out and ask them to get on calls with you, especially the decision makers, the people who would be willing to hire you, right? So if you were going into schools, you don't necessarily, maybe one or two students, but you wouldn't necessarily want to like do all your market research on the high school kids or something, right? You'd want to talk to the administrators, the teachers, the librarians, the people who are working with them, but people who can actually make the decision on, yes, I would love to hire you.
Mm,
And
okay.
then you get on calls with them, you ask them a bunch of questions. You can get on Chat GPT and say, hey, what questions can I ask this group about, their pain points around, their students' creativity or their audience's creativity. And um, and come on a call with them armed with those questions
Mm.
and take notes on their language, the language that they use. And then you can take that particular language and turn it around and use it in your marketing.
Ah, okay. So when you're reaching out to these people, you're not really reaching out to pitch yourself, you're just really reaching out to get more information. And if
Absolutely. You're
it
having a
turns into a pitch,
conversation.
just to have a conversation.
You're having a conversation. And the best thing about it is that this conversation can turn into a sale,
Right. Right. But if you don't approach it that way, you just approach
but
it
you
more
don't
as just
approach it
having.
that way.
Okay.
Right. Your
Hmm.
your first thought is really to get the information. What is it that you need? Like you may have a particular a signature talk or something, but your signature talk may not be specifically tailored to this audience. So you might want to ask them, like, how do I tailor it to your audience?
Mm. Okay.
You know?
That makes sense. Now, so besides cold calling, I know for my business, especially the art business, online has been like a huge success. I live, like you said, I live in Omaha, Nebraska. I can
Mhm.
count in the 20 something years I've been doing this on both hands how many things I've actually sold in Omaha, Nebraska. It is that little. And it's not for lack of trying, and everybody here knows me. It's just that this is not my market. And
Mhm.
so online has been a huge help for me. How would you best market for the speaking business using online strategies as opposed to just phone calls and outreach?
You'd find the places online where those decision makers are hanging out.
Okay.
Um, and like you were saying, you get referrals for your art business. It can be the same for your speaking business. One of the things I do in my holistic marketing program is stress that you don't just when it comes to marketing, it's not just about attracting, it's about retaining, and it's about getting them to refer people so that you have this constant pipeline of of clients and leads.
Hmm. Okay.
So when you do get a hot prospect, you put them into a database and you follow up with them forever.
Mm. Okay. So now we're into
Because
something that I don't know about. So explain to me these databases.
yeah, so what I mean is the best kind of database I think to have for your marketing is to have a CRM, a customer relationship manager, which is a system that helps you to stay in contact with your clients and your leads anytime. So say you were to do a lead magnet or to have a speaking reel, and you put a speaking reel on your website so people can kind of see your speaking reel, and then you invite them to book a conversation with you. They fill out a form that their contact information not only goes on your calendar, but it also just stays in your CRM. And then you can use that information to follow up with them. So say you have a call with them, and if they're not ready right now to book you, but they might be 3 months from now when they're planning their next event, um, they'll be getting emails or text messages from you on a consistent basis. And so you never leave their minds.
Mm. Okay. That makes sense.
And
Now,
CRMs also help you to track your analytics and see how you're doing as far as the number of leads you get in versus the number of people that are converting, um, and how you're engaging them. And it lets you do lots of different things, but it's mostly for maintaining that relationship with prospects and clients.
okay. Uh, Maintaining relationships. I'm good
Absolutely.
at that in person. It's just not something that I've really nourished online. I mean, like I said, I've had thousands of customers, and I know they're all happy. I have, I have thousands of customers, only one return. And that's a pretty decent
That's
rate. I gotta
yeah,
admit,
absolutely.
but I also
Absolutely.
don't hound them with emails. I've never created an email list or anything like that. I've just basically been using that word of mouth. Now I know that's a big error on my part, and I should definitely be doing that. And I'm working towards it. But do you think that like a customer that I've met that I worked with 20 years ago, while I still have their information, I've just never put it into a list to mail out. Would that be inappropriate to put them on a list and say, hey, by the way, I've got this new mailing list thing, and I've automatically signed you up for it?
That's not a problem at all. Because what you want to do is let them know, hey, I've got this new mailing list. I put you on it. I want to stay in contact with you on a consistent basis. But you also give them the option to opt out. They
Okay.
don't want to hear from you again. But, more than likely they're going to say, oh, hey, thanks. I'm, good to see you again. What you got going on? I might need another thing, and you put them on the list, make sure that they can unsubscribe if they want to, and then you start sending them.
Okay. How
Staying in
how
contact.
often do you bug? I mean, I say bug them,
Bug
but
them.
it's like, how often do you do the marketing, the advertising?
Well, as far as like nurturing, it's called nurturing.
Okay, use the right words here,
Making
Paul.
sure that you're staying in contact with people. Because it's keeping that relationship fresh and alive is really how you want to think about it. No, you're not bugging them. You're keeping the relationship alive. And as far as how often to contact them, um, I think it depends on what you want to do. But there are some people who favor every day, sending something out every day. Yes, there is that. Then there are people who send something out every couple of weeks or every month. Um, sometimes people send something out every twice a week, twice or three times a week. It all depends on what you're sending and what you're saying
Okay.
and what you're selling.
Sure. I mean, that does make sense. Okay. Yeah, that actually does make sense. I Yeah, I see it. You saw my face when you said every day. I just can't imagine, because I get a lot of spam. I mean, and we're in this world now where everything is spam related, or
Mhm.
every website that we go to has a pop-up that says, "Hey, give me your information, give me your email address," and I can't close out of them quick enough, and I just feel that everyone else is exactly like me. It's like, quit bugging me. If I want something from you, I will come to you, but I also know that out of sight, out of mind. And so,
Exactly.
how do you walk that tightrope of not being annoying and overbearing, but at the same time keeping that relationship alive?
Um, I think for the most part, your people will tell you.
Okay.
You start emailing them every day, and you start getting messages saying, "Hey, stop sending all this stuff,"
Sure.
or you'll get a whole bunch of unsubscribes. Then you know you're emailing too much.
Okay. Okay.
You
I mean,
know.
would you ever get an email that says, please email me more? I mean, I can't imagine anybody's ever done that,
Um,
but
Gotten emails where people have said, "I really like your stuff."
okay. I
So
guess. Okay.
I have gotten that.
All right. That's I, that'd be new to me, but yeah. I mean, I there are emails that I do, I guess, look forward to getting because I am curious, or this because I love my education. So like something might pop in, it's like, hey, there's this new product that does this cool thing. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll browse through it. I may not reply,
Yeah.
but I'll definitely take a look at it. So okay, makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. I stay on email lists because I may not be interested in what they're talking about today or tomorrow, but like 3 months down the road, say like I'm subscribed to this one clothing shop. They send an email every single day. I'm not in the shopping state of mind for something every day, but every now and then I'm thinking, oh, I've got this thing to go to. I wonder if there's a sale on dresses, or I wonder,
Mhm.
summer's coming up. I need a new outfit for something. And then I'll go looking through my email to see what they have to offer.
Yeah, that just sparked an idea in my head because a lot of what I do is seasonal. Like right now, we're just entering into the wedding season, so I would normally see
Mhm.
like my business pick up on wedding themed. Like I had a person today say, "Oh, we're looking for custom placeholders." I'm like, "Oh, so if I did an email push that was like, hey, we're entering in the wedding season. If you guys are looking for
Mhm.
custom gifts or custom things for your bridegroom or for the guest, that makes more sense." And
Yeah.
And the thing is, I
Something
talk
cool for
about
the top of the cake.
right. Well, I do those too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I talk about these all the time because I used to do a lot of live streams and for like 6 years, and I would say, oh, now we're into this season, oh, it's Valentine's, and so we're gearing up for Valentine's Day. But I never once thought about thinking of it from a marketing standpoint. For me, it was always reactive instead of proactive,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that makes a lot more sense. So I've been reading about. I saw a great
Mhm.
meme yesterday. Or it wasn't me, it was a video. It was this production team that was doing a Zoom meeting, like kind of like what we're doing here. It was 6 people, and they had an advertiser who was going through it. She's like, okay, so they needed static image and a carousel. And so the woman was presenting, and she had all these images of kids with staticky hair, and then all these images of carousels. And the woman in charge was like, "Is this what you've been sending our clients?" And so I've heard these terms, but I don't use them much. I understand that like static images are things that you have on your website, just a blank image. The carousels, I've always used them as like, hey, look at all the cool things that I've made. Um, but as far as advertising goes, what is an advertising carousel?
A carousel is great for telling a story or giving or teaching something in several steps. I was actually looking at my stats the other day on Instagram, and the I did one carousel. I'm bad at social media, to be honest. Um, I did this one carousel, and that one carousel got more interaction than just about like all of my other posts.
Oh,
So it was I had a title image, and then the next images was like, okay, this is the first tip, second tip, third tip, and then the end. That was it.
yeah.
That was a carousel. So it's almost like breaking down a blog post into images.
Okay. That makes sense now. Okay.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought I do a lot of tips and tricks on like how to build things, but also on how to think about things. So that would be an interesting way to do that. Now, is that something that you can send out in a marketing campaign as well as just social media, or is it usually,
You mean like in a email?
yeah,
Well,
like,
I don't see why not. Like you can put images in succession in an email.
okay, okay. I've heard of things there's all kinds of web programs that allow you to do weird, there's Canva is one of them, and then there's
Yeah.
a bunch of other ones that might be able to do. Okay. So
Yeah. Yeah, it does depend on what you're using.
right.
Um, yeah, I think mine like our software program just added a system where you can put an FAQ in an email and
Oh,
have it collapse and expand on each of the questions, which is
that's cool.
never been able to do that in an email before.
No, and I get a lot of frequently asked questions. Like I'm old school, and so on my iPhone here, it's got text replacement because I get asked about the same product a lot. And I got
Yeah.
so tired of writing them out that I just have text replacement. So I just do a quick keyword and it fills out an entire email, and I just have to change the name on it. I assume it's something that would be, it'd be similar with an FAQ, where like expand the FAQ like that, because I get asked a lot, how long does it take to make something? How much money do you need up front? Especially when you're doing the
Mhm.
art thing. And then for the speaking, it would be like, what do you speak on? Like
Yeah,
where are you located? Do you travel? That kind of stuff. So that would be super
absolutely.
nice. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that could be useful. That could be useful.
All right.
Yeah. So we
So,
talked about how to attract, how to
yep,
nurture.
yep. What would be the
And
next step?
the next step would be converting them. So
Okay.
is it easy to give you the money? Is it easy to onboard them? You want to make sure that that is seamless for your new clients. And like you said, having that FAQ, letting people know what the next step is. So there's no ambiguity. I think having a contract that they sign that's online,
Mm,
um, is helpful.
okay. I mean, I have a contract that's with all the art that I make because it's art. And so you got to protect yourself on that one. But that's more retro or reactive as opposed to proactive on that, just to kind of cover my butt. Um, but yeah, contracts would definitely be something, especially for the speaking aspect of it. Okay.
Absolutely.
Um, all right.
Yeah. And it's something that like outlines your policies,
Mm-hmm.
what
Okay.
you'll, because with speaking, you do have to be, well, with any business, really, you have to set your boundaries, what you're going to accept, what you're not going to accept. And a contract is a great place to outline all of that.
It's true. Okay. So what would be like the top three do not do this when it comes to marketing or advertising? Like what's a big
And
no-no?
that's a very interesting question, because it's kind of it's an experimental world.
Mm, okay.
You experiment with something. There's this idea that we say in the marketing space called A/B testing or split testing,
Mm,
where you may log on to Facebook one day and you see an ad, and then tomorrow you might see a different version of that same ad. They could be split testing that ad.
mm,
It may be the same ad, but with a different the title, the headline might be the same, but the image might be different. Or it might be the same headline on both, but one is a video and one is a photo. They may be testing out or the ad may be the same, but the button, one says learn more and the other one says buy now.
oh,
So they could be testing out all of that, like which one is going to convert. So it's an arena that you can be creative in and can experiment with.
okay.
Um, the no-nos I would say is make sure you're speaking clearly. Don't use complicated words or jargon. Um, make sure that even if you are in a specialized field, that your copy or your ad is speaking to people in simple language that they're sure to understand.
Gotcha. Okay.
Some people say, use third grade level language.
Explain it like I'm five. Yeah, that's what
Exactly.
we use.
Exactly. Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Um,
Um, the other thing I would say is don't stop.
don't stop. Okay.
Don't stop. If you
Just
stop, the pipeline stops.
yeah, I guess that's true. That is true. Well, once they forget about you, once you go out of favor, they don't. It's hard to bring them back unless you do something spectacular. I get
That's
that
right.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So then, if I was to implement, I mean, this is a lot of work. I will be the first to admit this is a lot of work. Like I can't stop doing my job. I'm a one-man show. Like I wish I had a team. That would be wonderful. I don't. I'm a one-man show. So I am the marketing team. I am the artist. I'm all of these things.
And you're the
How do
speaker.
you, yeah, how do you balance all? I mean, that's like I'm not sure like well, first off, I'm really bad with my scheduling. I'll be first to admit that. I'm an artist. I'm a creative. I'm all over the place. I'm not the most focused. I need a handler, which would be wonderful, but is it really just about setting boundaries, setting times, and like you have to do it in these times, which also works counter to being artistic, but whatever. It's what it is. But is that really the secret to it? Trying to tackle all this?
Yes. And putting systems in place
Mm,
and leveraging the tools and the people.
oh,
So right now you're a one-man show. But as a one-man show, technology that helps you to automate your processes and to keep track of all the things that you do in your business can really help a lot. And then as you're ramping up, then you can add people into the mix. You make sure that you are creating SOPs or recording what it is you do, especially all the admin stuff that you do, and then seek out help.
What's an
seek out
SOP?
VAs, seek out assistance. Oh, and SOP is short for standard operating procedure. Basically, it's documentation of your process.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
See, these are the jargons that I don't know. Like, when you're working for yourself and with yourself, you don't have to have these complicated conversations. You're just like, this is what I gotta get done.
That's true, right? For you, I'm getting stuff done. That's what this is called.
That's exactly what it's called. You had me at systems and automation. I literally had a conversation this morning with an AI, a personal assistant that I use called Pi. I love it. It's my favorite because it gets to know you, and so I can have like a back and forth. And I was actually like hashing out some of a like a speaking topic and stuff. Um, so are there AIs in place that can handle a lot of this for me, please?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good.
And I will actually, there's a website called Future Tools, and
Oh,
I think he keeps this site up to date. It's basically a directory of all the AI tools. The guy is a super AI nerd. Um, he keeps track of all the new AI stuff that's out there. AI is just like taking over, and there's so many AI programs that do a lot. They
mm,
do a lot. And in my program, we've got there's a conversation AI where if people go to your website and they type in a question, it will answer them back right away based on what you've already fed into it. So you can train it so that it can answer questions for your prospects, and it can also schedule the calls for you.
oh wow.
Uh, what else can I do? Yeah, those are the biggest things that it does. Oh, and then like, if you're typing out a text message or something to somebody, it can give you suggestions too about like what to say as far as responding to their previous message.
If I
So,
can just find one that can find me work, that would be awesome.
well, it
Uh,
can certainly help with helping you niche down. That's for sure.
I guess that's true. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
That's excellent. This is all wonderful information. A lot of actionable tips, which is a huge thing for me. I love getting information, but I hate getting things that are not actionable. I mean, who doesn't like to be hyped up? But at the end of the day, if I can't go home and do something with this, it's, thanks for the endorphins, but I really need something to work with. This has actually been really actionable, and I really do appreciate all of this. Um, so if you were to give me like a 1, 2, 3 plan, say, because Paul's new, Paul doesn't know what he's doing. What would be your 1, 2, 3? What would be this is the very first thing you need to do, and then this is the follow-up, and this is the third thing. They need to happen immediately. What would that be for you?
Um, I would say think strategically, think
Okay.
long haul, and also don't forget about your full customer life cycle, meaning attraction all the way to referral. Um, you don't have to put all those pieces in place right now, but think long term. Um, keep it simple. Do one thing at a time. I would start with that market research.
Okay.
And with the market research, asking those questions is crucial, because you're basically putting together a new offer. This speaking is a new offer. So when you talk to people and you ask them the questions like, what are their pain points? What do they need? How would they even buy from you? What makes sense for them? Then that gives you a lot of information to do number two, put together your offer
Ah, okay.
and to structure it out in a way that's attractive for your ideal clients.
Okay. All right. Then what would number 3 be if you had to give me a third thing to do? I love my homework.
The third thing I would say is to put together some copy,
Okay.
and find where your ideal client is and start building those relationships, make connections.
That's actionable. Wonderful.
Yeah.
I can easily do, I can do this one. Okay. All right. This is invaluable information. It truly is. From a guy who doesn't really spend a lot of time in this aspect of it. I'm in, again, being reactive as opposed to proactive. This really gives me like a proactive way of approaching all of this. It's really good information, and also hearing it out loud. I mean, I think about a lot of these things, but I didn't know that's like this is truly what you're supposed to be doing, or this is like the method. Because as a creative, as an artist who's just trying to, most artists don't become successful until they're dead. So I'm trying to be ahead of that game a little bit. But what we don't do is we don't think like there's two worlds of art. There's the art for art's sake, which are people who just create a bunch of art and hope that people want to buy it. And then there's people like me who are commission-based artists, which we only create art when somebody requests it. And so I've never really like pondered the how to market to get more of those people who are looking to kind of come my way, because I've never really had success at just creating art in general. It's just not something that's of interest to me. And so normally, gallery shows and that kind of stuff are for those people, because then you get a lot of people through to look at it, and your return rate is pretty low, but you get more eyes. Whereas when you're creating art specifically for somebody, it's reactive, again, not proactive. So this is good information. Excellent.
Oh, well, fantastic. I'm glad I can help. So,
Absolutely.
All right. So today, let people know where they can find you before we
Excellent.
go.
That's right. I'm at paulpapedesigns.com. That's like it's like paper without the R. So paulpapedesigns.com is where the art stuff is. And if you're interested in learning about how to be creative, not marketing, but how to be creative, you can find me over at paulpape.it, where you can Paul Pape it. And there you go.
Fantastic. Fantastic. We're looking forward to seeing you there. And that is all we have for today. Remember, think strategically, think long-term, and niche for your audience. They have a specific problem, talk to that specific problem. That is all we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And be sure to like this video. Tell us what you think about Paul's company and his business, and and what did you think of my answers? This is my first time doing this live, but what did you think? And yeah, subscribe to this channel, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you.